Hello, do you like watching Naruto? And would you like to know who you would be if you got into anime? Then right now subscribe to the channel, like this video, and the last number of your like will indicate who you would be if you got into anime. For example, I would become Itachi, and you? Write in comments.
Description: Naruto, after the betrayal, learns the cruel truth about the actions of the village leadership. As a result of dying, he takes the traitors with him to the next world. But this was not the end. The meeting with the Shinigami changed everything. He suggested that Naruto, and two of his friends, go to a parallel world to save him. Chapter 1. 8 long years have passed since the end of the Fourth World War. Much has happened and changed during this time, and most of all her main character has changed, from a smiling and always positive boy who shouted everywhere that he would become Hokage. Naruto turned into a ruthless shinobi, whose only goal was to destroy the ruling elite of Konoha. But let's start in order. After the end of the war, Naruto, unlike the others, saw not laughter and joy from victory, but tears and grief of people who lost loved ones in this goddamned war. During the war, all countries lost a lot of shinobi, and therefore the survivors had to work hard. Genin were busy with small missions within the village, and helped in its restoration. Chunin and Jonin performed missions outside the village. Mainly these were missions to eliminate gangs and deserters, while the ANBU remained guarding the village. Upon returning to the village, Naruto was hailed as a hero, and was promoted to Jonin by Tsunade. The Uchiha was forgiven and also promoted. Life returned to its usual course. Only the blonde will never be the same again. Naruto was seen less and less in the village. The Jinchuriki generally tried to shine less in the village unnecessarily. He did not like everyone's attention. More and more often he could be found at the most distant training grounds. On one of those days, at the training ground number 47, Orochimaru met him and invited him to become his student. And all because of the fact that Orochimaru was disappointed in the Uchiha. He, unlike the blonde, abandoned active training, and began to actively use all the advantages of his, so to speak, heroism, and slowly began to collect a harem for himself to revive the clan. About 6 months after Naruto became a student of the Snake Sannin, Tsunade died, which brought the two even closer. After all, Tsunade, as it turned out, was dear to both of them. This loss hit the blonde hard, and the only people he actively interacted with were Orochimaru and Kurama. But this did not last long. About a year later, on one of the missions, Naruto found a seriously wounded Anko, and a month later they began to meet, and the blonde miracle began to return to life, and more often a sincere smile could be seen on his face, and not a pathetic likeness this. But apparently the blonde was not destined to be happy in this life. After a year and a half, Anko died on a trifling mission, and this was the last straw for Naruto. He left at the request of the 6th Hokage, who was Kakashi, in the ANBU, and began to train hard with Orochimaru. If we talk about the training of Naruto and Orochimaru, then the Jinchuriki immediately realized that all the previous teachers did not really teach him. The Snake Sannin was strict and demanding. He forced to learn tactics, anatomy, and much more, which Naruto previously considered unnecessary. But unlike Kakashi and Jiraiya, he always explained everything in an accessible way. But the dumb Jinchuriki took it all with difficulty. And then something happened that completely changed Naruto. Orochimaru offered to check him for bookmarks, and remove them in secret from the Hokage and the top of Konoha. There were many bookmarks, from bookmarks to devotion to the Hokage and Leaf. There were also to the limitation of intelligence, to behavior, but most of all he was struck by two anchor bookmarks. The first is an artificial love for Sakura. All those feelings that he had for this pink-haired beast were just a bookmark. The second anchor was brotherly feelings for Sasuke. After removing the bookmarks, the Jinchuriki became more cold-blooded, prudent, and what was not given to him before or was given with great difficulty, now came out almost the first time. And so, one evening, drinking with Orochimaru, and talking on various topics in some incomprehensible way, they came to a conversation about Enko. And then, already pretty drunk, Sannin put forward the version that Konoha herself killed Enko, because the fact that those anchors that they set began to crack at the seams, because of Naruto's feelings for this person. Kurama supported him, because he understood that this could really be, and Naruto's investigation into this matter began. But the young Jinchuriki had no idea what he could find out about his beloved Konoha. The blood of his beloved was on the hands of his friends, Sasuke and Sakura. Enko was killed on Kakashi's orders. When Naruto found these documents, he was furious. From the destruction of the last Uchiha, and the whole of Konoha, he was kept, oddly enough, by Orochimaru and the Kyuubi, inviting him to continue his investigation, but it would be better if they didn't do this. Then it only got worse. It turned out that the third one was that bastard, even worse than Danzo. He at least did not hide his true face. It turned out that there were assassination attempts on Naruto too, to awaken the power of the fox. And most of the acts of aggression against him were provoked by undercover ANBU operatives. But these were only flowers. Berries appeared when Naruto almost got caught in the ANBU archive, and wandered into its old sections. And he caught the eye of one very interesting inscription on the folder. Top secret. Azumaki Kushina. This was an ANBU captain's report, explaining the elimination of the group that had kidnapped the Jinchuriki. From this report, it became known that Minato did not save Kushina at all. She was saved by the ANBU, after which her memories were changed. Naruto wondered why he dug further. The revealed truth morally killed him. It turned out that the same anchors were placed on his beloved mother as on him. Minato became her anchor. But the worst thing was that Minato was aware of everything that was happening, and took an active part in it. Participation. He deliberately made Kushina fall in love with him in order to become the husband of a Jinchuriki in the future, although he frankly did not care about her. Naruto spent the rest of his time looking for at least something that could justify the fourth, but all his attempts were thwarted after he found dirt in the root dungeons that Danzo was collecting. In those documents there was information that the fourth had a second family. The woman he loved and the son. These people died during the Kyuubi attack. Only now it is not clear whether Kyuubi killed them, or the greedy elders, because this woman could well claim part of Minato's property. But most of all Naruto was struck by the fact that in any case, he was supposed to become a Jinchuriki, according to the plan of the fourth and Horizon. During the birth of Kushina, she was supposed to die, and the newborn child to become a Jinchuriki, after which Minato could quite easily live with that woman and his son, and Naruto would have been brought up as a weapon of the village. The entire investigation of Naruto dragged on for almost 5 years. At the end Orochimaru was killed. The official version was that Tsunade had a cardiac arrest, but with the help of Kabuto, Naruto found out that there was poison in the blood, and only one could create such a powerful poison. The person is Sakura, his former love. Although what could be love, if it was just a bookmark? His only and sincere love was killed by those whom he considered friends. And now Naruto had only one goal: to destroy the elders. the Hokage and Sasuke with Sakura. It's a pity that Dan's and the third are dead. Naruto sometimes thought about summoning them with the help of Ito Tensei and killing them again, but this idea seemed crazy to him, and he discarded it. Above the village, hidden in the foliage, the sun was already setting beyond the horizon. People dispersed to their homes, and street lamps began to light up. Meanwhile, in the cemetery at the grave, a lone figure was sitting, holding a wedding ring in her hands. "Well, my love, I came to you again, now for the last time." Ka ka ka. The guy went into a bloody cough, looking at the palm, which was covered in blood, and the gravestone, on which a few drops fell. The guy immediately began to wipe it off, and again looked at the name he loved so much engraved, Mitarashi Anko. Naruto smiled slightly. "I hope that even after death the gods will take pity on me, and give me a chance to be with you. Although I myself am to blame, I was warned." Flashback. The blonde, the hero of the war that had just ended, sat on a dais above the Alliance camp, and watched what was happening in the camp now. Bonfires were burning in the camp, around which the laughter and fun of shinobi who survived this war could be heard. But Naruto, thanks to the fact that he let the Kyobi's chakra into his eyes, could see what the darkness hid from the rest. Near the tent of doctors, a kunoichi sat with her face buried in her knees and wept bitterly. She mourned her fiancé, whom the Arenans could not save. A little to the side, a guy sat alone, and tried to fill in the bitterness of losing his brother. And there were many such people, and this is only here, and how many of them are there? Outside the camp, how many people died at the hands of Setsu clones? Suddenly, footsteps were heard behind him, but Naruto did not even raise an eyebrow. He recognized the chakra of the approaching one immediately. "You've changed, Naruto-kun. And what is it?" "Tobirama-san, when I first saw you, you reminded me of a brother. The same strength, the same crazy ideas, and in general a lot of things. But now, and now? The war. It has changed you. Tell me, what do you see now?" "Grief, pain, hatred, and much more. This is the end of the war. Many sing of the war and its heroes, but the war is actually terrible. There are no winners. In the end we all lose. We lose loved ones and feel pain. Pain again." The blonde managed a smile. "What? It's just that I've already met a man who was consumed by this feeling, and he had a hand in unleashing this war. Although he was just a man who lost loved ones. But after that he became a puppet in capable hands. Okay, my time is running out, and I did not come for this. Don't trust the Uchiha. They always wanted power, and..." Tobirama disintegrated into sheets of paper, and in its place was the corpse of a white Setsu. End flashback. The blonde smiled sadly, remembering these events, and again plunged into memories. Only these were much more pleasant. Naruto immersed himself in the memories of his beloved. About the first meeting, when he was running away from her after stealing her last dango. About the start of the second stage of the Chunin exams. About how their relationship began. About saving Anko. About how he came in the morning through the window to her room, leaving there a red rose and a box of dango. Involuntarily admired her. About the first time you asked me out on a date. The first time he kissed awkwardly, and she smiled timidly in response, trying not to offend him. And Naruto, understanding everything, sent the clones while they were walking in the park, reading books of a perverted hermit, in order, as Naruto thought, to gain experience. He remembered that cheerful laugh when he explained to her after the second kiss that under the words "to train" sent clones to read books, not what she thought. Then came the memories of all the joint walks, How he rushed from each mission not to the Hokage, but to her, and thought about her on missions. He did not care about everything, that others say that she is depraved, that her behavior is unworthy of a hero 5 nations. He did care about anything, because only in front of him, she took off her mask, and was a defenseless girl, who wanted warmth and love, which she never received. Anko, after escaping Orochimaru, became an outcast, just like Naruto. She was not to blame for the fact that her teacher became a traitor, but she was branded very quickly, after which she put on her mask of a pervert, and a girl of easy virtue, although she had no one before Naruto. Anko simply wore a mask, some kind of protective function. Most bypassed her, and she rejected the rest. And then there was her death, which completely changed everything. Naruto cursed and blamed himself for her death, because if he had not started a relationship with her, she would have been alive, although he did not take into account one fact, that she only began to truly live when she decided to find out who this person was, that every morning sneaks into her room, and leaves the dango, and those relationships that began after, that were the best moments of her life for her, as well as for Naruto. The fox's voice snapped out of Naruto's memories. Naruto, we have to go, you have about half an hour left. The fox had long since come to terms with his Jinchuriki's decision to die, so he didn't even try to remove the poison from his body, or suspend its action. Kyuubi decided to leave this world along with his friend, the only friend, and the second person, after Higuramu, whom the fox accepted. Hokage's office. In the office now was the sixth himself, and his 2 students, Uchiha Sasuke and Haruno Sakura. They were so engrossed in the conversation, that they did not even notice the shadow that appeared in one of the corners of the office. Sensei, the poison has already begun to work. In half an hour it will paralyze him, and I can keep him alive until we reseal the fox. Good work, Sakura. The Uchiha broke into a smile. Yes. Soon the fox will be mine, and no one else will be able to resist me. The sixth looked skeptically at his student. Are you completely sure that you can control his power? Yes. My eyes are impossible to resist but a blurred shadow did not let him finish. And at the same second the Uchiha fell to his knees with a wild cry, and Naruto appeared next to him, in whose hands were the eyes of the last Uchiha. Sakura came to her senses, and tried to attack Naruto, but a kick to the chest with her foot slammed her into the wall. Hatake prudently decided not to attack. He was well aware of the alignment of forces, and that they now had minimal chances of survival. He was fully aware that the only chance to survive was to play for time until the poison paralyzed Naruto. The Uzumaki smiled slightly as he looked at the eyes in his hand. All the power of the Uchiha in the eyes. Without them he is a complete nonentity. The blonde looked askance at the Uchiha, whom Sakura, who had come to her senses, tried to help at least somehow, and crushed his eyes in the same second. Hello, Hokage-sama. How are you doing? How are you? Naruto smiled nastily, a smile that Sai often pissed him off before the war. Why this circus, Naruto? You didn't come for this. The Uzumaki smiled again and nodded. Of course, Hokage-sama. And don't even try to call the ANBU. Kakashi-san. Naruto's smile widened even more, and he nodded towards the window. Kakashi turned his head, and saw a purple barrier wall outside the window. They won't be able to break through it. Only I can remove it. Well, or you need to kill me. Which is also unrealistic. What do you want? Yes. Almost nothing. Just revenge. For the death of the teacher. For the death of Anko. You don't understand. It was necessary. Who needs You elders, to whom Naruto could not stand it, and broke into a scream, but quickly calmed down. You killed her just because she could break your bookmarks. But you could have a fucking think with your head. You didn't think it was her. And my feelings for her could tie me much more to the village than any bookmarks. You do not. Shut your mouth. At the same moment, Naruto created a Chidori, and the beam that escaped pierced Hatake's right shoulder. Everyone looked at it with rounded eyes. That Naruto used the Chidori was a shock. Surprised? Yes. I can use this technique. I'll tell you a secret. I can use all Sasuke Kyuhyun techniques. The blonde smiled as he looked at the faces of those present here, and around the barrier, began to gather Anbu and many Jonin. Shikamaru and Temari jumped up to the standing Kabuto. Kabuto watched the Anbu attempt to breach the barrier. Fools. They can't break it. As soon as Kabuto said this, 3 katanas were placed on him, one in the back, one to the throat, and the third rested on the chest near the heart. These are your hands. No. Naruto-kun did it. For what? Temari asked a question that interests everyone now. Revenge. He wants to kill the Hokage, and Uchiha with Haruno. For what? Instead of answering, Kabuto handed Nara the folder that Naruto had given him a couple of hours ago. As the documents were read, the Nara became furious. How could they do this to him? After he saved Konoha so many times. At this time in the office of the Hokage, Naruto was already finishing his dialogue with Kakashi, when the fox suddenly spoke up. Naruto, we only have a couple of minutes left. I understand you, friend. Goodbye. I am glad that fate brought us together, and when you are reborn, do not avenge me. I won't. I will go with you to the Shinigami. Naruto folded the last seal, and an explosion thundered. The whole of Konoha heard it, and a crater remained on the site of the residence. Thanks to the barrier, casualties were avoided. On this day the hero of the shinobi world died, or not. Chapter 2. Naruto woke up in an unknown place. There was scorched earth around, and the sky was red. Interesting. Doesn't look like heaven. Does it mean hell? But then, where the hell is my personal cauldron? The blonde asked a question of interest to him into the void, but hearing laughter behind him, turned around and saw 2 people in black robes, a little girl with black hair and a tall, gray-haired man. The girl spoke first, addressing the gray-haired man. I gave my consent to their movement, but am not going to force them, and I won't let you. This soul has already suffered and deserved purification. The man nodded, and in the same second the girl disappeared, and the man once again squeezed out a semblance of a smile, and turned to Naruto. It's still early for you. I have an offer for you, Uzumaki Naruto, but for starters, it's probably worth introducing yourself. I am a Shinigami, but not from your world, but from a parallel one that is on the verge of destruction. And I want you to go there with your friends and save him. And why should I? What do you mean why? In order to live, Naruto-kun, the full life that you didn't have. There you will have a family, the remnants of your clan, and with the knowledge that you have, you can change a lot. But before explaining everything in more detail, Shinigami snapped his fingers, and near Naruto appeared nothing understanding Kyuubi with Orochimaru. Hello, friends. I want to give you a chance for a new life. The Shinigami smiled benevolently, and the Kyuubi, who found Naruto's gaze, hurriedly asked, Naruto, what's going on here? This is a Shinigami of a parallel world, and he offers us to save him. Something went wrong there, and it seems there is no reincarnation of Ashura. At these words, the Shinigami only snorted. What the hell is reincarnation? That idiot Rikudo put noodles on your ears, and you believed it. In what sense? Orochimaru, who had been silent for a while, spoke up, indirect. Naruto-kun was never his reincarnation, and neither was Hashirama. Can you be more specific? Can. In the case of Hashirama and Madara, everything is simple. They are really the descendants of Ashura and Indra. Hashirama was just able to awaken the genome. Well, the outlook on life was similar to those of Ashura. Madara was just cleverly manipulated by Zetsu. Or do you think that Madara just went crazy after founding the village? Started a fight with the first, and as soon as he snatched a piece of Hashirama's DNA, faked his death and left? Well, with you, Naruto, and with Sasuke, it's even easier. Sasuke, like Madara, is a descendant of Indra, but unlike Madara, his brother helped him move with his mind, and the Uchiha's craving for strength made itself felt. Well, in your case, it was the fact that you were a Jinchuriki from the birth, and the fox, poisoning your body, involuntarily made it stronger, and in the end it was able to withstand the power of Rikudo. But the fact that in the beginning, you were an idiot with delusional ideas of the world, so this is the merit of the bookmarks. That's all. I agree. It will be possible to correct the mistakes that I made in my youth, and I don't want to deny myself the pleasure of banging Hiruzen once again. Grinning, said the Snake Sannin, if Naruto agrees, I'll go with him. I don't know. I don't want to go through all this again. It's a pity. Theatrically, the Shinigami sighed. I'm sorry, little Kushina, and what does she have to do with it? How about what? I told you. There the story went differently. No one communicates with it. Minato does not care about her. Most humiliate her. Sometimes even beat her in groups. And her future will be worse than wars. Constant hatred, beatings, attempts to kill, and considering that she is a girl then, in the future she will often be. Enough. I understand. Naruto was furious. The bloodlust emanating from him surprised even the Shinigami, although he knew what to press to get Naruto to agree, and purposefully seek his consent. I agree. That's weird, but now it'll clear things up a bit. You, Shinigami pointed at Kurama, will still be sealed in Mito, and you yourself will need to spin in order for the fox to be sealed in Naruto. Orochimaru will get into his body. Where is your carcass now? I don't know. Well, Naruto, I helped you a little, and so that you do not get confused in the new world, you will also be called Uzumaki Naruto. You are the crown prince of the Uzumaki clan. At that time the remnants of the clan moved to Konoha, but were attacked. So be careful, you will come to your senses during the battle. So in order to save your mother and sister, and the rest of the clan, you will have to quickly join the battle. And yes, I almost forgot. Here Madara did not transplant the Rinnegan to Nagato. The Shinigami smiled. So you are lucky. Not only have you become the owner of the strongest eyes, but the chance that Zetsu will hit you increases. A snap of their fingers, and all three of them disappeared in a white flash. Naruto appeared with the Shinigami in his subconscious. Now you have some time to review the memories of this body, and images from life began to flash before Naruto. Uzumaki not only could see, but also felt everything that the previous owner of this body had. Here he rejoices at the birth of his sister. Here he trains with his father. Then Naruto began to watch how his father fought with the shinobi who attacked them during training. The death of his father. Darkness reigned for a moment, and the next frame was how the young Uzumaki is kneeling at the body of his father, and around are the bodies of the attackers, whose faces were twisted with horror and fear. The boy did not know what happened then. As he was later explained, he fell into a combat trance. But where did the strength to win come from? No one could tell. Who killed even the head of the clan? but it was assumed that it was all the power of the boy's eyes. Then the future head of the clan swore that he would protect his family and clan by any means. Naruto began to recover on the battlefield and immediately began to analyze the situation. Many red-haired people were fighting against shinobi without protectors. Naruto jumped to his feet, and the first thing Uzumaki's tenacious gaze caught on was a woman who was covering herself for a girl of 5 years old, and in front of them the shinobi was already releasing a fireball in their direction. Time seemed to have stopped at that moment. I can't lose them like that. Naruto acted on instinct. Mika Uzumaki only a moment ago saw a shinobi pierce her son's chest with a kunai, and now she is clutching her daughter to her trying to protect herself, and a fireball is already flying in their direction. Only a second remains, and suddenly she sees not fire in front of her, and back. Hero, the woman thought, but no, this is not her late husband, this is her son, Daichi, who had just stabbed his opponent with a katana, glanced to the left, and what he saw startled him. A fiery element flew into the woman, who acted as the head of the clan until her son grew up. He didn't have time to do anything, and she couldn't either. She just pressed her daughter closer to her. But suddenly a shadow flashed, and Naruto was standing in front of them. Only half a meter was left before him, but the element, flying up to him, just dispels. All those who saw it fell into a small stupor. What Naruto took advantage of, he immediately went on the attack. His father's katana appeared from the seal in his hand. Swing. And the shinobi, who has just released a fire technique, supports his insides with his hands, which strive to fall out. Second swing. And Naruto's face is splattered with blood gushing from the enemy's throat. Naruto did not stop, rushing on, dived under the enemy's arm, avoiding the blow, and cut the tendons on both legs with one movement. The shinobi immediately fell to his knees, and the Uzumaki next blew off the enemy's head. Sensing danger from behind, Naruto kicked off with his right foot from the shoulder of the newly decapitated opponent, and doing a back flip, knocked off half of the attacker's head while still in the air. Uzumaki, who watched their future head literally crush the enemy, with a vengeance and fury, rushed to the attack. At this time, Daichi himself was slowly losing ground, fighting with two at once. Naruto, who saw this, threw a katana that pierced one of the attackers in the back, did not kill, but gave an extra second for Daichi to finish him off. Naruto once again looked around the battlefield. Women and children had already moved under the barrier for a long time, and there was no one near them. Realizing that they could not break through the barrier, the enemy began to fight in other areas, although there the Uzumaki prevailed. There's only one place where there could be problems. 3 red-haired, 2 guys and a girl, fought against 4, but the problem was in another 10-15 meters from them. The shinobi began to fold the seals for the fire dragon. I decided to burn both my own and others. Naruto thought. Uzumaki, with great speed, began to seal the seals for the water dragon. But an enemy with a kunai was already rushing towards him from the right. Naruto was faced with a choice: either interrupt the technique, defend himself and let those 3 be killed, or let himself be injured, and save his clan members. The choice was made quickly. Naruto missed a stab in the area of the liver, but fortunately for him the liver itself was not affected. Naruto folded the last 2 seals. A huge water dragon rushed across the fiery one. Fortunately Naruto managed to do it. Rei, who had just finished off his opponent, saw Naruto, who was attacked from the side by a shinobi with a tanto, but Naruto behaved strangely, did not dodge or block the blow, but after a second everything fell into place when the water dragon collided with the fire dragon and saved 3 Uzumaki, and Naruto began to fall sideways. Ray, in a second, took off the head of the shinobi who pierced Naruto, and catching Naruto, jumped back. The battle was over. The Uzumaki won, but lost 3 fighters, and 8 more had quite serious wounds. Suddenly, Naruto felt a rather strong thirst for blood, his blood, and did not have time to do anything, as he received a rather strong cuff, and a second later a woman was already hugging him. In her he recognized his mother, although this body is no longer his mother. The woman buried her face in his shoulder and cried. Naruto hugged her, and began to slowly stroke her head, and calm her down. Mom, come on. It's okay. Well, what did you think, when you climbed under the enemy's equipment? What would have happened if it had not disappeared? And even now. And then the woman's eyes widened. She pulled back slightly, and looked down at her side, on which there was an open wound. Before he could say a word, Naruto received another beam from his mother. Daichi, who was standing, and giggling softly at what was happening, called Hana over, and nodding towards Naruto. The girl understood everything without words. Mika-sama, let me look around and help Naruto. The girl quickly jumped up, took the guy's arm, and began to lead him away. Naruto, rubbing the bruised area, quietly muttered, "Damn, if not enemy shinobi, then your own mother will send you to the next world." Did you say something, son? Naruto stopped and looked fearfully at the smiling woman. No, mommy, you heard it. Naruto smiled his full 32, or even wider teeth, and quickly followed Hana. He needed to think about everything that had happened, and make a plan of action for the future. The Uzumaki caravan stopped for the night about 10 kilometers from the place of the recent battle. Now Naruto was sitting by the fire, and thinking about everything he would have to do upon arrival in Konoha. First of all, he will have to protect his clan members from encroachment by other clans. After that, it would be nice to contact Kurama and Orochimaru, and ideally, generally convince Mito that the fox needs to be resealed in Naruto, and not Kushina. Well, then, training and more training. First, you need to master the power of the eyes, after which you will need to move on to mastering the elements. Since a past life, Naruto knew many techniques of all 5 elements, although he only owned a futon, suiton and raton, but the creeping reptile, in the sense of sensei, forced me to learn techniques and other elements, with the words, "Everything will come in handy in life," here, and it came in handy. Well, then, Ray Master Rasengan, Chidori, and of course Rasen Shuriken, and it would be nice to have a call to acquire, and slowly master Genjutsu. Naruto was snapped out of his thoughts by crouching next to Daichi. What are you thinking about? Yes. About the future. I was thinking about something. We need to register a couple of new laws in the clan before arriving in Konoha. Daichi raised an eyebrow questioningly. You see, Daichi-sama, many clans will want to make alliances with us through marriage. Although we are a small clan at the moment, our art is quite highly valued in the world. Well, what's the problem? And the problem is that our women will simply be made concubines for the heads of other clans and their relatives. And what do you suggest? Well, firstly, marriages of convenience, or blood unions, will be prohibited in our country. And secondly, we, motivated by the fact that our clan is small, will write down the law that Uzumaki women cannot leave the clan. Instead, their husbands will have to join our clan. Of course, everything can be done, but such clans as the Uchiha and Hyuga will take these laws with hostility. I don't care. At first they won't interfere with us. They just won't be allowed. and after a couple of years, I will completely take control of the power of my eyes, and in case of a threat, I will wipe them off the face of the earth. Don't be so overconfident, Naruto-kun. I won't. Daichi-sama. Very well. I will draw up these laws. After that, Daichi silently got up and headed towards his wife, and Naruto again plunged into his thoughts. Naruto woke up early in the morning. Deciding to test his abilities, he went deep into the forest, first decided to check the condition of his body, sat down in a meditation position, and began to drive the chakra through the body. Naruto liked the result. The hearth and chakra channels are very well developed, and there is quite a lot of chakra itself, even more than at the same age in a past life. The control was also at a good level, not perfect, but he could walk on water without hesitation. The clan training had an effect. Naruto stood up and folded the shadow clone seal with his left hand. To his surprise, it came out the first time. To fold the seals with one hand, Naruto forced to learn in Orochimaru's past life, with the words that a lot can happen in battle. Having created a dozen clones, Naruto sent them to learn how to create a Rasengan, and he himself began to warm up. About half an hour later, Ray and Hana came out into the clearing and watched in surprise as Naruto puffed, trying to do something incomprehensibly, and another practiced blows on a tree. The guys walked towards him. Hey Naruto, are they shadow clones? How do you know this technique? My father taught me. You're a moron. Do you even know the disadvantages of this technique? Oh. The girl received a light cuff from Ray. How do you talk to the future head of the clan? Oh sorry Naruto-sama. How can I make amends? The girl began to jokingly, but when she looked up and saw the grin on Naruto's face, she froze. How can you make amends? Naruto took an appraising look at the girl's figure and licked his lips, as Orochimaru did. The girl covered her breasts with a squeal. You little pervert. Guys, laughing, fell to the ground. Ah well. Well, now I'm for you. But the girl did not have time to finish. The clones attracted the attention of the whole trinity. I managed. A clone with a Rasengan in his hand began to jump on the spot. Shut up, you moron, and don't interfere, another voiced. The first, having heard this, fell silent, and grinning, began to approach the second, after which he slammed him with a Rasengan, which caused him to dissipate. Because of this, the nearby clone lost concentration, and only the Rasengan that began to appear dissipated. The clone, enraged by this, attacked the first with his fists. As a result, a mass brawl ensued. Ray, who had just calmed down watching all of this, fell to the ground again laughing. Even Hana was standing there giggling at the clones. But the guys did not laugh for long. Naruto's mother began to come out from behind the trees, and her appearance did not bode well for Naruto. Naruto, bunny, why does your mother know that you have mastered the shadow cloning technique, and use clones in such numbers? Do you even know the consequences of this technique? Everyone stood still, and Naruto seemed to have forgotten how to breathe at all. Naruto, go to your mom. The woman beckoned the boy towards her with her finger. Mom, you can't hit me on the head. Why? She asked, tilting her head to the side and covering one eye. And then I'll start shitting in the corners. While the woman thought about what she heard, Naruto gave a tear towards the camp. Wait, you asshole. Naruto flew into the camp with furious eyes. Sister, save me. What's happened? Naruto gestured towards the approaching mother, hand shaking. Did you screw up again? Naruto replied with a nod. The girl smiled warmly at her brother. You messed it up yourself. Rake it yourself. And the girl, skipping, singing something, went towards the fire, where the women were cooking something, and Naruto, without having time to turn around, got hit on the head by his mother, and plunged into darkness. Chapter 3. 2 days had passed since the last events, and the Uzumaki caravan was already approaching Konoha. During this time, little has happened. Well, the main thing, probably, can be called the introduction of a law that Uzumaki Kunoichi will not leave the clan, although there were some problems here, and this problem turned out to be Uzumaki Akanashi, one of the elders, who only cared about himself. His clan was in second place. Well, this smart guy was not only against the introduction of a new law, but also managed to make an offer that, to put it mildly, Naruto did not like. Flashback. And I say that this law will only harm us. Akanashi didn't let up. Naruto had already cursed this old sclerotic man. Naruto didn't particularly like this man at all, and he was not liked in the clan either. We need this law, so we can save the remnants of the clan, and our women will not become concubines of various bastards from other clans. Naruto was holding back as best he could. In general, I wanted to suggest that Mika-san marry one of the strong clans, and this would strengthen, but it was not destined to finish. Naruto jumped up. A katana had already materialized in his hands, and Naruto involuntarily began to use Saki, intention to kill. Everyone was shocked at the pressure and bloodlust that came from the boy. Akanashi turned pale and began to tremble. He was enveloped in fear, a primal fear that was now burning him from the inside. Akanashi was ready to swear that for a moment he saw his death, and oddly enough, the face of his death looked like the face of the boy who was now in front of him. The situation, and most likely Akanashi himself, was saved by Mika. Realizing that everything was getting out of control, she quickly got up and hugged her son from behind, trying to calm down. No one knew what the woman whispered in her son's ear, but the fact remains. The guy calmed down. The thirst for blood is gone. Everyone was now looking at the young Uzumaki in different ways, someone with respect, someone with understanding. For the young Kunoichi, who were present at the meeting, Naruto became a hero, and for some an idol, and his mother looked with love and pride. On that day, Mika, for the first time in a long time, felt like a woman who can be weak and defenseless, for whom she needs to stand up. Previously, her husband did it, and now her little son is doing it, although it's probably not small anymore. When she saw Naruta's face, that she had just jumped up, she saw not a child, but a man, who was ready to cut anyone's throat for his family. End flashback. Yes, Naruto then broke. But it was worth it. In the end the law was introduced, and plus, Naruto was able to convince him to be sent to the clan meeting. Now, sitting in the wagon, Naruto was thinking about how he had changed after appearing in this world. He had changed not only externally, but also internally. 2 frequent mood swings. Here he is discussing the internal affairs of the clan, and an hour later, already with Rei, Hana is being teased, after which they are trying to get away from the angry Kunoichi. Yes, and the attitude towards strangers, whom he has known for only a few days, was strange. Naruto suspected that this was from the merger of personalities, and this Shinigami, most likely, was smart. Naruto sincerely loved his mother and sister. Daichi treated the old man like a grandfather, and Rei and Hana were his best friends. Still, it's not in vain that I agreed to move. Meanwhile, the caravan was already approaching the gates of Konoha. At the entrance the Hokage, several Anbu and Jonin, were waiting for them. Naruto jumped off the wagon, and stepped forward to greet the village head. "Hello, Hokage-sama." The Hokage was at first shocked, that a child came out first, but quickly pulled himself together. Glad to welcome the Uzumaki clan to Konohagakure no Sato, the ANBU and the rest of the shinobi looked at the red-haired boy with interest. I am Naruto Uzumaki, the crown prince of the Uzumaki clan. I'm sorry, but my mother is not feeling well. The long walk, and the recent attack, are taking their toll. Attack? The Hokage raised an eyebrow in question, to which Naruto replied with a nod. I hope no one got hurt. Thank Kami, everyone is alive. It was lucky that the level of shinobi was not too high. The Hokage replied with a nod, and a kind smile. Well, what do I ask for me? Your quarter is already ready, and everything you need has been delivered to the houses. Looks like Horizon is in dire need of the Fuin Master clan, and the voice of the leader in the council. Naruto thought. The further procession followed Naruto's story about the attack, and the journey in general. After half an hour the caravan approached the gates of the new clan with the emblem of Uzumaki. The old man did not deceive. Everything was ready. The houses were all similar, except for one. In the center of the quarter there was a two-story mansion, intended for clan heads. When the caravan had already entered the territory of the clan, Saratobi said that tomorrow by 10, he needed to appear at the meeting of the clans and retreated. Daichi immediately assembled a team of Fuin masters, and began to build a barrier, while Naruto ordered Rei to assemble a team, go around the clan territory, and inspect it for left seals. And indeed, everything strange. Naruto himself went with his family, and a housekeeper to his new home, while the women sorted things out, and chose their rooms. Naruto was in an office, located on the second floor. There was nothing superfluous in the office. A desk, a sofa, a couple of chairs, a bookcase. Also, there was an exit to the balcony, which overlooked the entire territory of the clan. Naruto smiled a little, admiring the view. Naruto saw a young couple kissing on the street, and remembered Enko, how they also walked the streets, kissed in the park. After her death, Naruto's life ended, although there were a couple of funny moments. After one of these Naruto woke up in Kiri, in bed with Mizukage. It was fun, but it all started so innocently. After 3 days, during which Orochimaru and Naruto ruthlessly destroyed the strategic supply of alcohol from the Snake Sannin, they decided to take a walk. Well, what? There's nothing to drink. They decided to go to a bar. Said and done. Got up and went. Along the road of these two drunks monsters were noticed by the ANBU, reported to the Hokage. He sent 20 ANBU to cordon off the quarter, in order to avoid, so to speak, as he looked into the water. After some time the conversation turned to techniques, mainly. Is it possible to add lightning to the Rasen Shuriken? How it will be look like? And what will happen if this is hitting someone? The said done, they drank, went to experiment on the street. Naturally no one was going to go to the training ground. It's far away. And the legs are not state-owned. The ANBU, trying to explain the stupidity of this act, was sent to in general, far away. The Hokage has arrived. Then Naruto remembered vaguely some fragments of phrases, but there was definitely Mizukage and a weekly. Kurama continued. Naruto got into Kiri almost at night. 2 guards trying to ask Naruto something were sent. In general, to the ANBU. He entered Mi's office beautifully, carefully opening the door with a kick and literally tumbled. In the middle of the office Turami and 2 ANBU were already standing in a combat stance, but the sight of a ready-made blonde, with a likeness of a bouquet in his hands, put them into a stupor. Uzumaki immediately endowed everyone with his trademark smile, but looking at what was left of the bouquet frowned. The bouquet was presented to one of the ANBU with the words, "Here, you brute, and don't you dare say later that I didn't give you anything." Well, then. And then it was good. Naruto woke up with a terrible headache and thirst, tried to get up, didn't work, rubbed his sleepy eyes with his right hand, couldn't raise his left hand, looked at what was in the way, looked again, and he went nuts. He closed his eyes, counted to 10, opened, looked. Once again, he went nuts. Mai was snoring on her left hand with a satisfied face. Well, then there was a long conversation, as a result of which, Naruto vowed to take full responsibility for himself. Naruto then lived in the mist for almost a month. Well, and then, the murder of Orochimaru, and his transfer to this world, who knows what could happen, if Kakashi did not start acting. Naruto smiled slightly as he remembered the story. Then he went to his room. Tomorrow is a hard day. The morning began with a conversation with Daichi, and the choice of a negotiating strategy, that at first he would have to side with the Hokage, and the fool understood. The Hokage is a force to be reckoned with, and if he covers the back of their clan, then they will have a chance not to fall under the rank of the great clans. By 9:00 Naruto went to Horizon, where some points were discussed, and a point was made that no one has the right to interfere in the internal affairs of the clan, and that no one will forbid people to follow the internal laws of the clan and their traditions. Horizon was slightly shocked that it was Naruto who came with this, but began to suspect that he was the real and current head of the clan, and not his mother. After the signing, everyone went to the hall, where the heads of the clans had already gathered. Naruto got a seat between Akimichi and Yamanaka, sitting next to Horizon, and burning a hole in Naruto. Danzo, Mito Uzumaki sat on the other side and smiled warmly. Nara constantly yawned opposite. Hyuga sat with an arrogant muzzle of his face, and a gloomy Uchiha sat to his right. Another, somewhat dissatisfied character, which turned out to be Inuzuka, Naruto chose not to particularly consider. While Naruto was looking around, he completely missed the whole abstruse Hokage speech. The word was taken by the same dissatisfied dog breeder. "Naruto-san, why did you come to this meeting, and not your mother?" asked. Probably everyone is now interested in the question Inuzuka. "It so happened that my mother is not feeling well. The long march, and the recent attack on us had an effect." Everyone silently considered what was said. "One more question. What law did you enact before coming to Konoha?" "It's simple. This law prohibits married kunoichi from leaving the clan. Instead their husbands will be included in our clan." Inuzuka quietly gritted his teeth, and Naruto realized who that old dick wanted to put his mother under, and also leaked information. Bitch. What was the reason for the adoption of this law? Now the Uchiha has already raised his voice. Apparently the big-eyed gopher also wanted to get hold of a concubine. And then a bummer. "It's simple. I acted in the interests of my clan and Konoha." "Konoha?" Nara raised an eyebrow questioningly. "Yes. This is how I speed up the restoration of my clan, and thus in the future Konoha will have more Fuin masters. If this law did not exist, and women went to other clans, my clan would be on the verge of extinction, and children from such marriages simply would not learn the secrets Fuinjutsu. You yourself understand the secrets of the clan and all that." Everyone was lost in their own thoughts, considering everything that had been said. But the Hokage was the darkest of all. This little asshole fooled him with this law. Now it will not be possible to tie the Uzumaki to the village through Miki's marriage. And although Horizon mentally chuckled, "I think the young head's arguments are convincing, but Naruto-san, since we agreed to respect and abide by your laws, you must respect ours. And then the Uzumaki got a bad feeling. Since you yourself admitted that your clan is small and on the verge, then you, following the ancient law on dying clans, as the head of the clan, will have to have at least 3 wives. There was silence. And we will choose one of the wives. And then Naruto realized what he was doing. Naruto leaned back in his chair and began to think about everything that was happening. Don't even go to a fortniteler. In this way they want to tie me to the village. I agree. Naruto sighed and opened his eyes. And Hiruzen took the floor again. The ideal option would be your engagement to one of the founding clans. Naruto cocked his head to one side and broke into a Cheshire cat smile and began to look at Tsunade appraisingly. A soft chuckle went around the hall at Naruto's behavior. Tsunade, feeling Naruto's eyes on her and pleased muzzle, reacted immediately. Don't even think about it, little one. Senju snapped. The smile on Naruto's face faded and was replaced by a grimace of resentment. Watching all this, Mito giggled softly. Now, this red-haired boy reminded her of her late husband with his behavior. Well, I think we can end here. Naruto got up and walked towards the exit. The others began to follow him, and only Mito remained in the room, sitting with a thoughtful face. On the way out, Naruto almost crashed into Orochimaru. Naruto smirked. Hey, serpent, let the king pass. Naruto lowered his head so that his face could not be seen. Orochimaru slowly turned to look at the suicide. What did he say? And saw a scarlet crown in front of him. Then the rest of the face slowly began to appear, an impudent smile and Rinnegan? Naruto? Sannin couldn't believe his eyes. He didn't look like his past self at all. Aha! Himself. Naruto smiled merrily, but the nascent conversation was interrupted by Tsunade, who came out. Naruto immediately turned away from her in annoyance. Tsunade broke into a smile. Are you offended, little one? Orochimaru watched with interest. Naruto-kun, how did my teammate hurt you already? Yes, it is. She did not want to go to my harem. Naruto smiled fervently, and the snake fell out of reality for a while. How long have you been in Konoha? 2 days. Naruto replied quickly, and already got a harem? A nod was the answer. Meanwhile in the meeting room, Mito sat thoughtful. The last days something strange happened to Kiabi. That hatred and anger that constantly emanated from him disappeared, and he stopped undermining the seal. And now he was trying to drag her into the subconscious. Mito made up her mind, and descended into the subconscious, everything as always, the same Kiabi, or not, a look more meaningful, thoughtful. Kiabi, why did you call? The Kiabi didn't reply yet. He thought about something. We need to talk. Old Mito. Mito grimaced at the word old lady. About what? I need you to put one person into your subconscious, then you will know everything. Mito laughed. Are you serious? Absolutely. It's in your best interest. Well, who is he? Mito asked, still smiling. Uzumaki Naruto. Bearer of my father's eyes. Father? Mito was taken aback. She disappeared from the subconscious and went to look for the Bang Uzumaki, curiosity urging her on. Mito found Naruto quickly. He was standing at the entrance and talking with her granddaughter and her friend. Mito listened. Don't worry, Naruto-kun. Your harem will manage without me. Naruto just snorted in response and then smiled. But I don't worry. Thung. Beautiful and strong. And in the future I will become even more beautiful and stronger. Look, don't regret it later. Tsunade walked over and leaned closer to Naruto, rather than showing off her charms a little more, and stroked the Uzumaki's cheek. I can change my mind, Naruto-kun. Tsunade sang softly. I can change my mind too. The blonde replied with a smile, and when he saw Mito, he came up with a new plan. I'd rather ask for Mito-sama's hand. Mito, understanding the idea, decided to play along with Naruto. And what? I agree. You are a prominent guy, the head of the clan, and I, it seems, is still nothing. Mito replied with a smile. Oh no, you're just beautiful. Naruto came up and kissed the woman's hand, after which, taking her arm, he was about to leave, but stopped. So now, Tsunade-chan, you will come to us in the evenings, sit on my knees, and I will tell you stories about my turbulent youth. Tsunade began to boil and blush with anger, and Naruto slowly walked away with Mito, but decided to do a test. And don't walk Tsunade-chan for a long time, otherwise I'll scold you. And he threatened the woman with his finger. Tsunade would break the ribs of the insolent man, but his grandmother was with him, so revenge is postponed. Commentary on Chapter 3, here. Edited, Beta, Chapter 4. Naruto walked around Konoha in silence with Mito. Everyone was thinking about their own, until Mito decided to break the silence. Naruto-kun, I want to talk to you in one place. And I'm not alone. Naruto mentally smiled. So Kurama began to act. I agree. Where shall we go? Mito smiled tenderly in response, and led the Bangazamaki to her home. As soon as the couple entered one of the rooms, Mito activated a pair of barriers, protective and eavesdropping. Naruto, do you know who the Bijua and the Jinchuriki are? The dung man's nod was her answer. Well, I'm the Kyobi's Jinchuriki and I'd like to go down into my subconscious with you and talk to the Kyobi. Do you agree? Not again. Mito began to fold the seals, then touched Naruto's forehead with 2 fingers, and they sank into the older Uzumaki's subconscious. Naruto started to look around. Yes, it doesn't really look like his sewer. Lighter, drier, but the cage is the same. 2 blood-red eyes lit up in the cage, and a fox face appeared. Mito tensed. She didn't know what to expect next. Naruto? Fox raised an eyebrow questioningly. Aha. Who else? Azumaki smiled, as once upon a time, before he experienced all this pain. Hey Ku. Naruto stepped into the cage, and held out his fist in greeting. Mito tensed up, and even got scared. This stupid child was trampled into the cage, with the strongest of the tailed beasts. But the fox did not attack, but simply hit back with his fist. And you, I see, repainted, blonde. Fox grinned. Yeah, and did the rejuvenating plastic surgery. Naruto grinned in response. Mito was shocked, and did not understand what was happening. The boy and the demon were talking like old friends. Can someone explain to me what's going on here? The shocked Azumaki broke into a scream. Good, but you must not tell anyone what you hear here. Mito tensed, but answered with a nod of agreement, and a long story about Naruto's life began. Of course, a lot was missed. I even had to show some memories, such as Naruto's childhood, some fragments of the war, a conversation with Tobirama, and part of the investigation. This was dangerous, but necessary, as Mito had to convince the Hokage that Naruto was the ideal vessel for the Bijua, not Kushina. After all that she had heard and seen, Mito thought for a long time, but in order to prevent this, she agreed to help Azumaki in everything. And the loyal Kyobi, who not only will not try to escape, but will also help his Jinchuriki, is a weighty argument. Naruto was exhausted, but he still had to tell Daichi and his mother about everything, and no one had yet cancelled the meeting with Orochimaru. When Naruto entered the house, Daichi, Mika and Rei were already waiting for him in the living room. Naruto silently walked past and sat down in a chair. How did everything go? Daichi couldn't resist the first. Relatively normal, they didn't like the law. But after my arguments, the Hokage accepted it. Many gritted their teeth, but most of all the Inuzuka. It looks like this old Akanashi was playing behind our back and wanted to set up my mother with Inuzuka. Everyone was lost in their own thoughts. And now what? Nothing. Hiruzen found another way to bind our clan to the village. So? Rei couldn't help it this time. Konoha will choose one of my wives. And most likely, it will be Haim of one of the strong clans. Everyone was silent until Mika understood the meaning of what was said. Yes. The Hokage decided to recoup my law with his own. I, as the head of a clan that is on the verge of extinction, must have at least 3 wives. Daichi sat smiling, and Rei frankly laughed until he received a slap from the mistress of the house. That was to be expected. The Hokage should have at least some guarantee that we won't dump him. Naruto just nodded at that. Something else? Yes. I talked with Mido-sama. Most likely, I will become the next Jinchuriki Kyuubi no Doko. There was deathly silence, which was destroyed by Mika's cry. Fortunately, at least the barrier was put up. Yes, they do fucking. Yes, I them. Yes, they have me. Okay, 3 more wives. At the very least. Naruto snapped, for which he immediately got a slap on the back of the head. Son, do you understand what it means to be a Jinchuriki? This is a burden that you will have to carry for the rest of your life. I understand. Naruto walked over to his mother and hugged her gently. I've already seen the Kyuubi and talked to him. Everything will be fine. You can't trust a demon, and I don't believe him. I believe in my strength, and the strength of my eyes. The Hokage may not agree. To make you a Jinchuriki is to place the demon in our hands. Agree. By doing this, he will tie me to the village even more, and this is only a plus for us. He needs our voice in the council, and a loyal Jinchuriki so we don't have to worry about our safety at first. Then I can take the power of the Kyuubi under control, and we will no longer be afraid of anyone. Jinchuriki wielding the power of their bijas is a terrible thing. Everyone agreed with this, although Mika did not immediately, but her son convinced her, sitting next to her on the sofa, hugging her and slowly stroking her back. As soon as Naruto came out of the bathroom, a maid appeared, saying that a certain Orochimaru had appeared at the gates of the clan and wanted to meet. Naruto immediately told them to bring him in and make some tea. Soon Naruto and Orochimaru were sitting in the office drinking tea in silence. The Sannin broke the silence. You shall't be doing this with Tsunade. Snake smiled. She's vindictive, and you don't have Jinchuriki regeneration yet. Coming soon. I already spoke with Mido, and she agreed to help us. And what did you tell her? Orochimaru frowned. I had to tell part of the truth, but now she will help us. That's good. We'll have a lot to learn from her. Naruto just nodded in response. When will training start? We need to return the old skills. And with your help I want to legalize a couple of my old techniques. Sannin thought. Suggest Mido to move to the clan quarter. She's still an Uzumaki. Referring to her help, you can explain the appearance of Hiraishin in you. Naruto nodded. I will try. All right, I have to go. Tomorrow morning I'm leaving for a mission. I'll be back in a couple of days. Then we'll discuss the training plan. Sannin left the room, and Naruto, without thinking twice, went to the bedroom. He needed to rest, because tomorrow is the first day at the academy. At the same time, in one of the hostel apartments, a small, red-haired girl sat at the kitchen table and stared blankly at the cup of tea in her hands. It was none other than Uzumaki Kushina. She was brought to this village several years ago, from an orphanage on the border of the Land of Fire. Soon she was to become the Jinchuriki of the Kyobi. She was afraid of this moment. She knew that the bearers of the caudates were feared and hated, although much further. When Kushina went to the village, she dreamed of a fun life, that she would have many friends. Everything turned out exactly the opposite. She didn't have friends. Instead of them there were ridicule from her classmates, who recently began to beat her. At first she was able to fight back, but now they take the number. The only person who treated her well was Mito Uzumaki, the current Jinchuriki. A couple of days ago, Kushina learned that the remnants of her clan were moving into the village. The girl perked up and thought that now at least someone close would appear in her life. Yesterday, from the very morning, she was cleaning the apartment, went to the store for sweets, so that there was something to treat her dear guests, but no one came. Today she also skipped the academy. She kept waiting, but again no one. Nobody needs me. I will always be alone, she thought. The girl smiled sadly, put the tea aside, and went to bed, because tomorrow will be another day of the academy, another day of her torment and humiliation. In the morning, walking through the corridors of the academy, accompanied by a chunin, Naruto pondered what to do, and how to behave. But all questions disappeared by themselves when Naruto entered the classroom. 3 guys mocked the red-haired girl, 2 held her hands, and the third was already slapping her in the face. Naruto glanced at the teacher, who was supposed to stop the bullying, but instead he just stood there, watching and smiling. Naruto started to boil. This morning Kushina started getting hitched by the trio again. The girl was about to hit back, as she was grabbed by the hands of 2 that stood on the sides. The third swung for a slap. Kushina closed her eyes, waiting for the blow, but it didn't come. Naruto went berserk. His blurred shadow flickered, and now the right leg blows off the guy who wanted to hit Kushina. The crunch of bones, and the sound of a collision with a desk. A blink and Naruto spins around, kicking the second guy in the chest with his left foot. Another moment, and Naruto is already opposite the third, hitting the solar plexus with the open palm of his right hand, knocking all the air out of his lungs, and slamming it into the wall. There was an oppressive silence in the classroom. Naruto walked over to Kushina, and wrapped his arms around her. "Are you all right? Nothing hurts?" Kushina heard an unfamiliar voice that felt warm and worried. She opened her eyes. In front of her stood a guy of about 13, whose red hair reached the shoulder blades. His bangs covered his right eye, and his eyes. The eyes were strange. "What are you doing? What have you done?" "Yes," the teacher shouted. Naruto turned around, and involuntarily released his ki, but immediately removed it. Then a girl in the ANBU uniform appeared in the room, who came to say that Naruto was waiting for the Hokage. Now the ANBU was trying to figure out what was happening. "What am I doing?" Another wave of ki burst out. The ANBU noticed that Naruto's tone of voice had changed from just being soft and caring to now feeling cold and powerful. In such a voice, their superiors scolded for failures. He did not bode well. "I did what you should have done." 3 imbeciles attacked the girl, humiliated her and wanted to beat her. And you, instead of stopping it, stood, watched and smiled. Now the ANBU understood what had happened. Kushina stood silently, and tears welled up in her eyes. For the first time in her life, they interceded for her. "Yes. How did you defend?" "This boy beat up 3 bullies in a couple of seconds, and now he is standing and yelling at the teacher. He really worries about her." "Yes. Yes, she herself is to blame. She is a kunoichi, and has to fight back. And she every time. Every time? So this is not the first? Key wave. But stronger. Naruto was already shaking. He wanted to tear this bastard apart. But he turned around and approached Kushina. The girl lowered her head, and shrugged her shoulders, trying to hide her tears. Naruto gently lifted her face by the chin. Was it not the first time? Naruto's voice changed again, becoming kind and caring. The girl closed her eyes, turned away and nodded. I would kill you right here and now, but I don't want to get my hands dirty on a piece of shit like you. The Hokage will find out about this, and he will decide what to do with you. Naruto turned to face the Anbu, who nodded in response. I will immediately inform Hokage-sama of what happened. Azumaki-san, Hokage-sama and Mido-sama want to see you. Be back soon. By the way, Anbu-san, can I ask someone to walk the girl home? The Anbu nodded, made a couple of gestures towards the window, and another Anbu appeared in the room. He took Kushina's hand and disappeared. The first Anbu disappeared behind him, and Naruto headed towards the Hokage. The day started out fun. Naruto walked towards the Hokage in a foul mood. Already at the office he heard a noise. Knocking and waiting for permission to enter, he opened the door. There were two inside. The gloomy Horizon was sitting at the table, and Mido was standing next to her, whose mood was no better than Naruto's. But when she saw Naruto, the woman smiled softly, approached the guy and, kissing him on the cheek, said that he did everything right. Looks like Mido was here during the Anbu report, and didn't like it. Well, for starters, I agree with Mido-san. You did everything right. The Anbu told us everything. I will have an educational conversation with the children and their families. As for Chunin, he's been downgraded without promotion for 5 years. Now only D-rank missions are waiting for him. Naruto nodded, although he thought it was better to kill the bastard. Now that's what we called you for. As I understand it, you have already discussed with Mido-san the possibility of becoming a Jinchuriki, and agreed to this. Yes. I don't want that girl to suffer because of the bija. She already got it. Horizon nodded contentedly in response. Apparently Mido drove him well on the ears. Naruto decided to seize the initiative. The ritual will be performed by members of my clan, because, firstly, they are the best in this business, and secondly, I completely trust them. Horizon nodded. It will be held at one of the training grounds, on the territory of the clan. We will put up a barrier. You have a cordon around the barrier, preferably from those people whom you completely trust. The Hokage nodded again. I see you, and Mido-san have already planned everything. A return nod from both of them. One more request. Hokage-sama, I want to take Kushina into the clan. I have nothing against it. Also, I wanted to invite you, Mido-sama, to move in with us as well. We are one blood, and I would like to become your student, if possible. Mido smiled. This boy, maybe not a boy anymore. She didn't know how to take him, but she definitely liked him. I agree, Naruto-kun, and I will gladly become your sensei. After agreeing on a few more details regarding the cooperation between the Hokage and the Uzumaki clan, Naruto and Mido went to her house. As Mido said, almost all of her belongings were already sealed in scrolls that only the Uzumaki, or her direct descendants, could open. This was done because there was a great risk of dying during the ritual, and she did not want her legacy to fall into the wrong hands. Naruto was sitting in the room waiting for Mido, but it wasn't her who came in. It was someone Naruto didn't want to see for at least another week. Tsunede's eyes gleamed dangerously as Naruto ran through a dozen plans in his head and chose the one he thought best. He began to speak with an offended and upset face. "Hello, Tsunade-san. I was looking for you." Tsunade thought he was suicidal at first, but Naruto looked depressed. "You see, I come to you with an open soul, with a pure heart, and you." Naruto turned away. Tsunade was shocked, and when the teenager suddenly jumped up and hugged her, burying his face in her chest, it completely knocked the ground out from under her feet. Is he really in love? Have I, a grown woman, seduced a child? Mito watched all this from the side, giggling softly so as not to attract attention. Tsunade pushed the boy away from her, and considered words of consolation, so that God forbid not to offend the boy in love. After all, first love. Tsunade put her hand on Naruto's shoulder, and sat down in front of him. "You see, Naruto, I'm much older. I understand that boys your age like older girls. Besides, in the future you will have 3 wives. Why do you need me? Yes, I want you. And about the 3 wives, have you ever heard of the Uzumaki's legendary stamina?" Mito, hearing this, decided to save Naruto, otherwise he was carried to the wrong step. Tsunade, having understood the meaning of the words "I want you" and Uzumaki's stamina, began to blush. Who would have thought that some jerk would be able to embarrass one of the Sannin, Uzumaki? But the Sannin's cry was interrupted by Mito, who appeared and decided to participate, and also mock her granddaughter. "Suna, why are you shouting like that? By the way, Naruto is right about stamina." Mito walked over, and kissed Naruto softly on the cheek. Tsunade was in shock. "Grandma, what are you trying to say that you and he? You are." "Tsunade, are you stupid?" Naruto-kun said that before the wedding, he was no, and that he was not brought up that way. Tsunade was completely out of touch with reality. "All right, Naruto-kun, grab your bag and let's go." Naruto grabbed Mito's bag, which contained the scrolls with sealed items, and walked beside Mito to the exit. "Grandma, where are you?" "How where?" "Suna, what were you listening to yesterday?" "I'm moving in with Naruto." The woman hugged the young guy, and moved to the exit. "Yes, Suna-chan," Naruto said. "We are waiting for you for dinner." He smiled and slammed the door. Tsunade sat up, and tried to comprehend everything that had happened. After the 2 Uzumakis left, laughter broke out in the corridor, but Tsunade did not hear it. The barrier hid all sounds. On the way to the clan territory, many paid attention to the 2 Uzumaki. Those who did not know Mito could safely say that they were mother and son. At 73, Mito looked like she was in her 40s. There was something to look at. A guy of 13 years old was telling something funny, actively gesturing with his hands, and a woman laughed out loud at the jokes of a child. Few people could now recognize in this cheerful woman the wife of the first Hokage, and the former Hime of the Uzumaki clan. The couple entered the house quietly. Naruto did not want to provoke the hot-tempered mother. But Mito, provoked by laughter at Tsunade, wanted to play a joke on Mika, who was her relative, and whom she had last seen 30 years ago. Mika met them, slightly shocked by the appearance of Mito. The second act of the play Naruto Fiancé Mito began. "Oh, Mito-san, what are your fates towards us? Like what?" "I will live with you now, mother-in-law." Mito smiled. "In terms of?" Now all of Mickey's thoughts were confused. She did not understand what was happening. "What do you mean?" "Mean? Naruto-kun proposed to me yesterday and I accepted." Naruto looked at Mito, asking him to stop, but it wasn't there. Mika began to think things over. "If my son does something, then it is not without reason, and he would not use Uzumaki. Maybe I hit him hard on the head last time. came a spontaneous thought. Although no. The same as always. Mito smiled at all 32, just like Naruto used to. It gave her pleasure to see the frightened eyes of this joker, but she knew that he would get out. Mika glared dangerously at Naruto. Her gaze did not bode well. Well, okay. You talk here. And I'll go. I still need to drop by Kushina. Naruto said. Who is Kushina? Mika asked a logical question. So this is Naruto's second bride. Mito answered automatically, and Naruto, not having time to retire in time, was captured by his mother. Son, can you explain? Naruto considered his options and muttered, well, at least she does know about the third one. What? Who is she? There she is. Naruto jabbed a finger behind his mother's back. The woman released her son from her grasp, and turned to stare at the empty wall. Turning back, she saw only the dust, kicked up by the fleeing Naruto, and heard Mito laughing. She pulled Mika into the house. Mika only thought, well, come back. Naruto, you definitely won't be able to go home, and sit on your ass for a couple of days. Commentary on Chapter 4. Checked. Happy reading. Chapter 5. Kushina sat in conflicting feelings. On the one hand, she was infinitely happy. For the first time a boy stood up for her. Yes, how he stood up. Perhaps this is her first friend, or maybe someone more. Kushina's cheeks involuntarily turned red. But on the other hand, he went to Hokage-sama and Mito-sama, and they can tell him who she will soon turn into. This can scare him away. Then he will never talk to her again, or even begin to mock her at all. These thoughts made her feel sick and sad. She was pulled out of her thoughts by a loud knock on the door, and she quickly ran to open it. To her surprise, on the threshold was the boy who saved her. He had a frightened look. The girl let him in, and then she was overtaken by the thought that those hooligans, or their parents, decided to take revenge, and the boy simply ran away from them. But why then did he run away to her? Is someone following you? Yes. Mom. The girl raised an eyebrow in disbelief. You just don't know her. Naruto looked at the girl, and saw that she really didn't understand what was going on. It's just that Mito-san made a bad joke, and I had to run away. Kushina silently took the guy by the hand, and led him to the kitchen. They drank tea in silence until a thoughtful Naruto decided to break it. Kushina-chan, can you help me? Kushina nodded uncertainly in response. In general, it's better for me not to appear at home today, and I wanted to. Well, can I spend the night at your place? Kushina looked at Naruto thoughtfully and nodded uncertainly. It was her chance to get to know him better and make friends. Then maybe in the future, he won't be afraid of her becoming a Jinchuriki, and still remain her friend. The evening quickly came to an end with casual conversations about the clan, studies and things like that. Naruto, carried away by the story, did not notice how sad Kushina's eyes became when it came to family. He completely forgot that he wanted to offer her to move to the clan. Kushina lay down on the bed, and Naruto was placed next to him on the floor. Finally, we got to the sore subject. Naruto, tell me, are we friends? Yes. No matter what happens, you won't change your attitude towards me. What exactly do you mean? Well, you see. Soon, I'll become a Jinchuriki. Naruto got up and sat on the edge of the bed. Kushina immediately turned to the other side and pulled the blanket over her. You won't become a Jinchuriki, Naruto smiled as Kushina turned around and looked at Naruto in disbelief. I will be the Jinchuriki. I hope that you, in turn, will not change your attitude towards me. Naruto smiled slightly. Of course not. Kushina answered without thinking. That is great. Oh yes, I almost forgot. Kushina, I wanted to offer you to move into the clan. I already spoke with the Hokage, and he does not mind. Is it true? Tears welled up in Kushina's eyes. Thank you. The girl, unable to stand it, jumped up, kissed Naruto on the cheek and hugged him. A few seconds later, realizing what she had done, she jumped back, squeaking, and pulled the blanket over herself, so that only her eyes were visible. Naruto just smiled in response. Behind this scene, Rei watched from the window. It was sent by Mika, after Mito explained everything to her. Now these two women were destroying sake stocks, cheerfully discussing everything that had happened. Rei, heading back to the mansion to report, considered trying to make a Naruto-style joke, but thinking that he would be the first to get hit, he decided against it, and the children at that time were each immersed in their own thoughts. Naruto thought about what would happen tomorrow, and what his mother would do to him for not spending the night at home, and Kushina thought about how her life had changed with the appearance of this scarlet-haired boy. At first, he stood up for her, and now, he will become a Jinchuriki in her place, and take her to the clan, where, perhaps, she will make friends. The first person close to her has already appeared. The first real friend, or not a friend, but something more? Kushina quietly crawled to the edge of the bed, and looked out from behind him at the boy, who was now quietly snoring on the floor near her bed, smiling at some of her thoughts. The girl wrapped herself more tightly in a blanket, and closed her eyes. The morning came quickly as always. Naruto woke up as usual at 6:02, but he didn't know what to do yet. He usually went to training, but now somehow he didn't feel like it. Standing up and looking at Kushina, who was still sleeping, and smiling at something in her sleep, Naruto smiled involuntarily. She looked too cute now. To begin with, Naruto trudged into the shower. After water procedures, Uzumaki went to the kitchen. After all, hunger is not an ant, and Kushina wants to eat when she wakes up. So Naruto decided to cook something. Yes, Naruto learned to cook. The snake Sannin taught Naruto not only techniques, but also hammered into his head such concepts as cleanliness in the house, and proper and healthy food. Although this had little effect on Uzumaki's apartment, long missions and constant training did not contribute to this. Rummaging through the products, Naruto decided to cook pork with vegetables, without bothering for a long time. Kushina woke up from strange sounds that she was not used to hearing from the kitchen in the morning, and there was a pleasant smell, but remembering yesterday's events, she quickly got up and went to the kitchen. The sight of Kushina still sleepy, and rubbing her eyes with her hand caused a smile, which was reflected on Naruto's face. But quickly gathering his thoughts, if Kurama were now nearby, he would definitely say that you can't get together with something that doesn't exist. Naruto sent Kushina to the shower, announced that everything was ready, and it only remained to put it on the table. After a quick shower, Kushina returned to the kitchen, where Naruto was already setting out what he had prepared. Surprisingly, it turned out to be not only edible, but even tasty, although the appearance of cooked food did not inspire confidence. But the morning in the Uzumaki clan mansion did not start so cheerfully. Two women who celebrated Mito's housewarming were now sitting drinking tea. Mito was easier. Kurama, taking pity on her, slowly began to heal her, but the second Uzumaki sat with a dead look, and looked more and more often on the cabinet, in which there was still sake, but under the eloquent gaze of Mito, she did not dare to act. Rei was already leaving the clan at the moment, and was walking towards Naruto with a satisfied look, because he managed to find the information that the future head and his friend asked for. He crossed paths with Naruto in the middle of the street. "Good morning, doves." And a sly smile. Kushina blushed in response, but Naruto just smiled. Envy silently. "And if you continue," Naruto's smile grew into a grin, "I will ask Daichi to announce Hana as my bride." And the grin became even wider, but the smile from Rei's face disappeared. "Okay. Okay. Wool." The boy raised his hands in a conciliatory gesture. "How are things in the clan? Do you want to know how your mother is?" "Everything is fine, although at first she was furious. But after Mido-sama explained to her the essence of your jokes with her about Tsunade-san, she laughed for a long time. But now she is most likely moving away from Mido-sama's housewarming celebration." Naruto nodded in understanding. Naruto knew for himself that a hangover is a terrible thing, especially if one red-haired schizophrenic flatly refuses to treat you. "Well, what did you complain about?" "Obviously not to tell me all this." "No." Rei held out a folder of documents. Naruto's smile grew wider as he read it. In the folder there was something that would help Naruto to remove the presumptuous elder. Even after that meeting, Naruto asked Rei to dig up compromising evidence on the old duck. But if he had found it, then one fine morning this old slut would simply not have woken up, since Naruto was well versed in poisons. But about where to get it, because Orochimaru is for this. "This is good. Even excellent." Naruto muttered under his breath. "Tell Daichi that I asked to gather the clan in two," but after looking at Kushina, he corrected himself. "No. It's better at 4 o'clock." Rei nodded and, taking the folder, headed towards the clan. At the academy, children's screams and laughter were heard in every class, and in one of them, one unfortunate trinity was surrounded by the same idiots as many now believed, and discussed one Uzumaki, and a little to the side were girls whose whisper was also Naruto. "Hey you!" The blonde girl shouted towards the crowded clanless, and representatives of small and insignificant clans. "What are you doing there? Are you waiting for your payoff?" Yamanaka laughed defiantly. "What do you mean, Naori?" Some red-haired guy, whose name the girl did not even know, gave a voice. "Like what?" The girl made a surprised face. "You also molested and bullied the Uzumaki, and that guy, Naruto, he doesn't forgive this." "Wait. He will come for revenge. What will he do to us?" "He is alone, but we are many." The same red-haired man answered. Even the Nara woke up at that statement. "Here the question is more likely that you can oppose him. Yesterday he beat 3 people, and in just a couple of seconds. Although, as he beat him, he hit him once, firstly, and secondly, he is the crown prince of the clan, and he is taught from the cradle, and I'm sure that if you were there more, he would not notice the rest and swept away. The level of training is different." Nara yawned and put his head back on the desk. "Exactly." The girl shook her head vigorously. "Shikaku is lazy, but he's not stupid, and that's why." But she was stopped by the appearance of 2 Uzumaki in the doorway. The girl turned back to the group of suicide bombers, in her opinion, and whispered, "Tremble, mortals, your death has come." After that, she smiled fervently, and went to a group of girls sitting nearby. The appearance of the Uzumaki immediately riveted the eyes of the entire class, mainly to Naruto. The girls looked at him with interest. He was quite attractive, but his eyes were slightly intimidating. Those who had molested Kushina before began to look with fear. Hyuji and Uchiha looked appraisingly, as if they were a future opponent in sparring. But one character looked with superiority. But what to do? Gaku Inuzuka did not shine with his mind, and to be honest, he rarely used such an organ as the brain, and all the time, got into a fight. Naruto quickly collected his thoughts. took Kushina's hand, and headed for the last desk. But it was not destined to calmly reach the goal. Hey, Azumaki, if you think that having killed those three, you showed that you are cool, then you are mistaken. You are nobody here, and your name is nothing. Naruto looked at Inuzuka like he was an idiot in response, and made a mental note to punish the bastard. Somewhere behind Gaku, Sume Inuzuka made a hand-to-face gesture, and was already mentally killing her clanmate for the stupidity. Shikaku wanted to pray for the repose of the idiot's soul, but he was too lazy. The clanless watched with anticipation. Inuzuka, I see with your mind, you do not shine very much, but one of the most important shinobi laws should be known even to such like you. Never underestimate the enemy. In the future it can cost the life of both you and your team. All this Naruto said in a calm and even voice, without expressing any emotions. Gaku began to grind his teeth, and was about to rush into the attack, but he was stopped by Tsuna's slap on the back of the head. I beg your pardon for my foolish friend's antics. I am Sume Inuzuka. The girl smiled, extended her hand. Naruto also smiled in response and shook hands. Kushina, who was watching all this, began to get angry and jealous, and involuntarily began to squeeze Naruto's hand harder, and the thought that it would be better if this bitch stretched out not her hand, but her legs soared in her head. Naruto, who felt that his hand began to squeeze harder, decided to retreat, and continued his way to the back desk. The lessons were frankly boring, but Naruto did not relax. Now he is not a rootless orphan, he is the heir to a great clan, and this imposes some obligations. Naruto sat silently, only sometimes something, explaining to Kushina, and answering questions from teachers. Knowledge in some features of the life of a shinobi sometimes amazed teachers. Only Jonan and Anbu could know this, but everything was attributed to good clan training, and the genius of the child. At the last lesson, there were sparring. Kushina without any problems did some brunette. Kushina's style was out of the question, a simple kick to the stomach, and a right hook, but Naruto decided to leave the problem with the lack of style for later. But Naruto got Gaku, screaming about his strength and Naruto's worthlessness. The fight was fast. Inuzuka immediately rushed at the red-haired one, with some kind of war cry, but Naruto went to the right, thus letting the attacker pass him by, and gave acceleration with a juicy kick in the ass. Gaku plowed a couple of meters of earth with his nose, and a second later he was pinned to the ground, and a kunai was put to his throat. Outcome: an unconditional victory for Naruto, and looks filled with admiration from the female. The girls already wanted to come up and get to know each other better, but they were prevented by Kushina, who silently approached, took the guy by the hand, and took him away from the training ground. Kushina's gathering did not take long. As it turned out, she did not have many things, and after an hour they were all packed in scrolls, which Naruto took out under Kushina's enthusiastic gaze. And knowing the nature of the women of the Uzumaki clan, he immediately promised to teach. As soon as Naruto entered the house, he immediately shouted, "Brother!" and ik was knocked down by a small red hurricane. This little miracle just lay down on him, but when he saw Kushina, he came to his senses, and away we go. "Brother, where have you been? And who is it? What is her name? Will she live with us? Is she your fiancée?" This verbal diarrhea, there is no other way to call it, was stopped by Naruto. He simply covered the mouth of the little beast with his hand. But the girl quickly came to her senses and, jumping up, was already standing on her older brother's stomach. "Hello. I am Nami, Uzumaki Nami. She extended her hand towards Kushina, with a questioning look. Kushina, moving away from the first shock, shook the outstretched hand. Hello. My name is Kushina. Yes. Naruto-kun said that I would live with you. And no, I'm not his fiancé. Kushina smiled amiably, but the girl turned her unfriendly gaze to her brother. Baka, how could you miss such a beautiful girl? Naruto was shocked. Not only is this little thing on him, but she also scolds him. But they snap. Naruto didn't have time. From the doorway leading to the living room, the laughter of two red-haired women was heard. And in Mito's subconscious, Kurama also chuckled. It was this red-haired beast, who then advised Mito to play a joke on Naruto, but he did not expect that the former natural blonde would run away to Kushina and, moreover, stay there overnight. Naruto looked at the women with fear. His many years of combat experience and logic could not predict what would happen next. Women, as Naruto realized in a past life, do not lend themselves to any logic, and Uzumaki women, even more so, but the instinct that he had suggested that now it might be Bo. And Naruto hurriedly came up with a plan for his escape. A tactical retreat. Well, son, what should I do with you? Mika asked, grinning, to understand and to forgive. Naruto raised an eyebrow questioningly. Well, I don't even know. The woman rubbed her chin thoughtfully. And part of it is your own fault. I decided to add Uzumaki, and the fox in Mito's subconscious, with a sigh, put his paw on his muzzle, and threw a single word into the void, which now exactly described the Uzumaki's act. Fool act. Son, did you happen to get pissed off? Mika began to knead her knuckles. Well, you always hit first, and then you ask. Further disputes were stopped by Mito, citing the fact that Kushina needed to be accommodated, and that the clan meeting was coming soon, and the head of the clan with a black eye was somehow not respectable. Naruto immediately supported this decision, and sang the wisdom of this great woman. A couple of hours later, Kushina was already placed in one of the rooms of the mansion, and now she was dragged somewhere by the hand of Nami, explaining that she just wants to introduce her to the rest of the children, and they have nothing to do on the council. In more detail about the children, now, not counting Naruto and Nami, there were 8 more children in the clan. 4 were enrolled in the second year of the academy, another child in the first, and the remaining 3 were still too young to study. At the council, Naruto entered, accompanied by his mother and Mito. In the clan, the news of Mito's return was received with enthusiasm. All members of the clan valued their blood very much, and were always glad to have new relatives. At first, Naruto told those present in more detail about the meeting of the clans, about the agreements concluded with the Hokage, and about the decision to buy from Konoha part of the land, located next to the clan's territory, motivating this by the fact that the clan would grow and develop. In the future, this land will be needed, and now, thanks to the signing of a sales agreement, the explosion of the seals of the ANBU Hokage managed to get a good discount, almost 40%. Although he himself had to give a 15% discount for the ANBU, but the Hokage would have knocked out anyway or self a discount. There were further discussions about opening a couple of shops in the clan's territory, about teaching children, where Naruto told Rei to start training Kushina, improve her taijutsu, and find a style that suits her. And Mito agreed to start her training in the basics of Fuin. Well, the last, and very unpleasant question for me. Naruto folded his hands in front of his face in the lock and frowned. Whispers went only a few people knew the essence of this matter. And he is connected with one half-blood. And now the whispers have become louder. Everyone knew that Naruto never separated the members of the clan, and treated them with respect and kindness. As you all know, a half-blood is not eligible to become the head of the clan or the elder. And therefore, as the head of the clan, I remove Uzumaki Akanashi from office. You wouldn't dare, jumping up and almost spitting. The old man began to shout. How dare I? The emotionless face and gaze of the Rinnegan was frightening. Mito, looking at Naruto, admired him. His endurance, his look, his voice, all testified to his strength. For such a head she would have gone into battle herself. Naruto extended his right hand to the side, and in the same second, Ray appeared there, and placed a folder of documents in his hand, which Naruto threw on the table. Your mother was a clanless girl, who married an Uzumaki, and you took the place of an elder through deceit. I won't punish you. Uzumaki's blood still flows in you, but you will leave the post of elder, and part of your money will go to the clan's budget. But know that if I ever find out that you are plotting behind my back, or secretly communicating with the heads of other clans, you will pay with your head. All. This issue is closed, and not subject to discussion. Mito-sama is appointed as the new elder. On this, our meeting is declared closed, with all questions in working mode. Naruto got up and left the room with Mito and Mika. Chapter 6. After the meeting, Naruto went to the office, and the pre-created clone went with Daichi. Managing the clan was something new for Naruto that he had never done, and he was afraid that he would not cope corny. So he asked Daichi to explain everything in detail. Naruto, sitting in the office, again began to rethink everything, what to do, and where to run. This new world, family, clan, all this imposed responsibility, and also, after all, to save the world, from Madara, Zetsu, well, and everyone else. Well, Zetsu and Madara, it was decided to postpone until later. Anyway, they will come to Naruto. They can't do without the Rinnegan. So Naruto thought about the near future. Well, in the near future, Naruto has a ritual with sealing Kurama, and preferably without the death of Mito. Uzumaki liked this woman, but he just couldn't understand how she hooked him. Well, then. And what's next? Then Orochi will hide, and start racing in training. Well, you need to increase your knowledge in clan affairs. For this short time that Naruto is in this world. Naruto, now, looking from the balcony at the scarlet-haired ones scurrying back and forth, for some reason remembered Itachi. Naruto wondered how he was able to choose a village, and not a family. What he then thought, which place? Or is he just another puppet, since Naruto has only met 4 Uchiha, and each of them was a puppet in capable hands. The leadership of Konoha manipulated Itachi. Naruto did not find another explanation for Itachi's actions. Well, what kind of person in his right mind would go to kill his family because of the interests of a thoroughly rotten village? Nonsense, in a word. Well, then we go on. Little vengeful bastard Sasuke. Well, this one generally went hand in hand. At first, Itachi guided him. I should have died at the hands of Sasuke. Idiot. It would be better to slaughter him there, along with everyone else. After the remote control from Sasuke, Obito intercepted, and gave new introductory ones. Tobish revenge on Konoha. Although Obito himself was in the able hands of Madara, although the great and terrible Uchiha Madara himself was just Zetsu's puppet. True, as a fighter, Madara commanded respect. Naruto had a thought. Are all Uchihas so easily receptive that they are so easy to control and direct in the right direction? Probably not, because the same Fugaku wanted to stage a coup and cut the arrogant old people, but no luck, they turned out to be faster. Naruto was brought out of his thoughts by a knock on the door and Mike entered. Naruto, let's go. Everything is ready and set on the table. Receiving a nod in response, the woman left the office, and Naruto once again glanced out the window and followed his mother. They all ate in silence. Mika occasionally threw sidelong glances at Naruto, and thought about how, and when her son grew up like that, and generally became like that. Mito thought about how nice it is to be in a family, and not sit in a mansion alone. Kushina's thoughts were similar to Mito's, except that Kushina was thinking about her upcoming training. Nami was also thinking about starting her training, only in the clan so far. And she also wondered why exactly she got a burnt piece of meat. But she was silent. I knew that my mother could understand this as a reproach to her and be offended. And my mother hurt. Nami and Naruto have already learned this. Naruto was thinking about how to quickly get out of here. He already had memories from the clone sent from Daichi. After the meal, everyone headed to the living room, where Mito began to tell stories from her youth. The girls listened with their mouths open, and Mika also listened to her. Naruto frankly listened to her half an ear, and more comprehended what was happening now. Is this how real families should be? Everyone is sitting in the living room, and one of the elders is telling tales about his youth. It was unusual for Naruto. He was used to being alone, but he liked this new one. Smiling at his thoughts, Naruto also began to listen to Mito carefully. So the evening went on with stories. Mito told, someone asked something again or simply commented, sometimes with rather caustic comments. The morning, as always, began suddenly, and naturally did not let me sleep. Getting up around 6, Naruto trudged to the shower, but before that he knocked, and woke up Kushina. The girl, not accustomed to getting up before 7, was not particularly pleased with the early rise, but she did not see a choice. Firstly, she herself asked Naruto to train her, and secondly, she simply did not want to disappoint him. The warm-up took about half an hour. Everything Naruto wanted to see, he saw. Physical training was a little lame, and of course, it's not worth talking about any fighting style. But it's better to teach than to retrain. Naruto, chewing a sandwich, already sketched out a rough training plan. You only need to agree with Mito, because she will be doing Fuin with Kushina. At the academy, they were already not looked at so closely, but they did not deprive them of attention either. Naruto and Kushina sat next to each other again, and Naruto, with a tenacious look, picked out Minato, who had come today. Bung Namikaze told something to the brunette, who laughed merrily. How it turned out that this person of the weaker sex belonged to the Saratobi clan. Naruto was distracted by Kushina tugging at his sleeve. Naru Yu Uto. The Uzumaki turned, and raised an eyebrow questioningly. What are you thinking about? Yes. About nothing. So, about training. Kushina smiled slyly. Naruto, will you teach me that technique of yours? How is it there? Raskin or Rasengan? Yes. If you want, I'll teach you. But not now. It needs good chakra control. And who taught you it? Nobody. I created it myself. And at that moment there were more listeners. The one sitting next to them also pricked their ears and listened. Well, the Rasengan refers to the Kaithehang. For example, Naruto created a Rasengan in his hand. To say that everyone who saw this, to put it mildly, went nuts, and now the whole class was listening. Kate, what? The girl looked incredulously. Haven't you been told this yet? The girl shook her head negatively, and Naruto, noticing other interested looks as well, decided to explain. There is a Katehenka and a Seishitsuhunka. Katehenka is a special form of chakra control that allows you to manipulate the shape, size, direction, and movement of chakra when using a jutsu. Seishitsuhunka is a special form of chakra control that allows you to manipulate its property, transforming chakra into a natural element, which allows you to use an expanded arsenal of techniques. There are 5 more basic ways to change chakra, but I'll tell you about this later. And you? Naruto looked at the assembled listeners. Sensei will tell. Naruto smiled as he looked at the grimacing Yamanaka. Naruto-kun, I won't ask how you know this. I'll write it off for clan training, but we study this at the end of the last course. And work with the elements begins after distribution, with Jonan as a mentor. The teacher who entered the classroom began to explain. Naruto only nodded in response. So your technique relates to the Katehenka? Minato asked as he approached. Yes. Naruto replied without expressing any emotions, but mentally smiled. Aha. Fuck you, Namikaze, not creating a Rasengan. The great Uzumaki Naruto is ahead of you. At this point the sensei became interested. Naruto-kun, can you demonstrate your technique? Instead of answering, Naruto simply created a Rasengan. To say that the teacher was surprised is an understatement, and Naruto himself created this technique. I decided to finish off teacher Kushina. This is true? Not believing asked teacher. Naruto again only nodded, and in the teacher's head now there was only one thought. He really is a genius. In less than 13 years old, to create a technique that looks no lower than B rank. The teacher, having coped with surprise, dispersed the onlookers to their places, and began to conduct a lesson. The lessons were boring again. Naruto even thought about sleeping like in the good old days, but dismissed this idea, and Kushina would not have given it. She kept asking something, and Naruto answered patiently. At one of the breaks, Mikoto approached the 2 Uzumakis in order to personally get to know Naruto, but this did not surprise Kushina, but the fact that she behaved affably with her. In Kushina's memory, this is the first time that an Uchiha spoke to her first, although she, like most others, did not bully her. She was in no hurry to make friends. Arriving home, the Uzumaki couple found Mito trying to hammer the beginning concepts of Fuin into Nami's head. It turned out with difficulty. The girl could not sit still and listen for a long time. After going to the kitchen and having lunch, Naruto began to explain the training plan. First, we will improve your physical performance and start working on chakra control. For this I have one secret. In words, a secret. Kushina's eyes sparkled in anticipation. I will teach you the shadow cloning technique, but you must not create more than 3 clones for now. Why? This technique has both pluses and minuses. It was originally designed to allow shinobi to explore their surroundings and observe the enemy while remaining safe. The unique feature of this technique is that the experience of each clone is transferred to the original. In addition, clones can be used in combination with other techniques. The fact that the original learns what the clone does can be used in training. Due to the high consumption of chakra, the number of clones is limited for each shinobi. In addition to experience, the clone's attrition is also transferred to the original, which leads to problems if the training is not suspended in time. Kushina listened to the whole monologue with delight in her eyes. Who invented this technique? Tabarama Senju. And get, neither the Sharingan, nor the Byakugan, nor the Rinnegan can distinguish the original from the clone. Naruto pointed to his eyes. What is the Rinnegan capable of? Kushina looked at Naruto with interest. Even I don't know for sure, but I'll tell you what I know later. But now get changed. and run to training. Kushina jumped up and quickly rushed to the second floor. Now Naruto was sitting under a tree and meditating, and Kushina had been trying to create a clone for the 3rd hour. Naruto was distracted from his meditation by a happy squeal from Kushina that she was finally able to create a capable clone. Well, congratulations, Kushina-chan. Naruto smiled approvingly. Now sit down and rest, and I will explain what will happen next. The girl dispelled the clone and sat down next to the Uzumaki. You do know that chakra is made up of spiritual and physical energy, don't you? After waiting for an affirmative nod, Naruto continued. Well, I'll skip those explanations. And I'll start right away with control. Uzumaki chakra control is a little more difficult than the rest. Why? The girl was surprised. Because of our strength, our clan is famous for its stamina and chakra volume. But control is still needed. Thanks to it you can, for example, walk through trees or water. Is it true? Kushina was now looking at Naruto with delight. True. Also thanks to control, you will be able not to waste chakra for nothing. In terms of, Naruto sighed heavily. You see, each technique requires a certain amount of chakra. If you feed less chakra into the technique, then the technique simply won't work. But if more, then the extra chakra will simply vanish, and it turns out that you spent it for nothing. But thanks to control, you will come as close as possible to this golden mean, and you will waste less chakras for nothing. So, are you ready to practice? Yes, sensei. Naruto just smiled in response. You don't have to call me that. So, okay. Create a couple of clones and take Kune. Kushina quickly applied the seal of cloning and, to her delight, it worked the first time, although Kushina feared that it might not work. So, listen to me carefully, my young student. In order to climb a tree without hands, you need to apply chakra to your feet in such a way as to gain a foothold on the tree. But you must determine the amount yourself. It is different for everyone, and here I can help. Only advice: if you give a little chakra, then you will simply fall, due to the fact that you could not catch on. But if there is too much, then the bark of the tree will no longer withstand this, and you will fall again. Why Kune? And with a Kune, you will mark where you got to. And Kushina's torment began. Naruto was always there to help if something happened. Kushina's torment lasted another 3 hours. At the moment her height was a record, about 3 meters. Naruto decided to take pity on the girl, and ordered to dispel the clones. After the clones disappeared, Kushina staggered, but Naruto standing next to her did not let her fall. Still, the learned cloning technique, and maintaining 2 clones for 3 hours is costly, and Naruto decided that meditation should also be added to Kushina's training, which he immediately voiced, and the girl only sighed in response. Naruto grabbed Kushina in his arms, and began to walk towards the house. The girl resisted at first, saying that she herself could go, but her eloquent and stern look quickly calmed her down, and she just pressed her head to the guy's chest and relaxed. Entering the house, the guys stumbled upon smiling Mito and Mika, as well as Nami's sly face, which was peeking out from behind their backs. Kushina, who saw the glances of the 2 women, treacherously began to redden her cheeks, and she hurried to retreat from Naruto's arms, but the guy did not even change his face. Kushina, take a shower, and then go down to the kitchen. I will do the same. Kushina just nodded in response. After half an hour, everyone had already gathered in the kitchen and ate rice. Only Kushina was weakly picking at her plate. The girl was too tired. She had never trained for so long, but still she was pleased with herself and her results, and Naruto praised her. Naruto, Tell me, what did you do to the poor girl? Naruto looked at his mother in disbelief. Yes, everything is in order, Mika-san. But I learned the technique of shadow cloning, and was able to walk almost 3 meters on a tree. Naruto, did you teach the girl shadow clones? Miko rolled her eyes. Yes. And yes, I talked about the pros and cons of technology. She creates only 2 clones so far, and I am always there, and will not let anything happen to her. Miki's eyes softened. Naruto spoke confidently, and she believed him. Make sure you don't step away from her during training. Naruto responded with a nod, and turned his gaze to Kushina. Very tired? No. It's just not customary to train for so long. But I liked it. Kushina smiled weakly. Son, Daichi came to you, and brought some scrolls. I forgot. I was supposed to meet him. What's in the scrolls? Mito asked. Nothing special. Konoha Code of Laws. Naruto grimaced as he imagined how much he would have to learn. Why do you need them? Mom, I am the future head of the clan, and I must know the laws of the village in which we live in order to avoid saying so. Mito smiled approvingly. If anything, contact Naruto-kun. I still lived here for a long time, and know a lot. Thanks, Mito-san. Naruto smiled back at the woman. Uzumaki turned towards his mother, and she nodded at Kushina, already pecking at her plate. Still drove the girl. Asshole. In response, Naruto just snorted. Taking Kushina in his arms, Naruto headed to her room. Entering, Naruto folded the clone seal with one hand. The clone that appeared made the bed without question, and the original put Kushina in it, covered her, and only smiled, watching her wrinkle her nose in her sleep. Leaving Kushina's room, Naruto headed to the training ground. Since he didn't feel like sleeping yet, he decided to train. Putting up a barrier, Naruto decided to train in elemental techniques. In a past life he had 3 elements, and in this, thanks to the Rinnegan, all 5. But it was decided to practice already mastered. Deciding to start with Suiton, Uzumaki folded 21 seals, and whispered with his lips, Suiton, Water Dragon. An impressive dragon appeared behind Naruto, who rushed forward after a moment. After Naruto folded 5 seals and whispered, Suiton, bursting wave, a powerful jet of water, escaped from Naruto's mouth, smashing a pillar standing on the edge of the range to pieces. Naruto winced. I am an idiot. I crucified here in front of Kushina about the control of the chakra, and I myself swell into the technique more than I should. We need to do more control. But that's already tomorrow. Now sleep. Chapter 7. Breakfast at the Uzumaki's house passed in almost complete silence. Nami openly yawned, and was not happy that Mito woke her up so early. Kushina sat and blushed all the time. She was ashamed that yesterday she fell asleep at the table. Naruto had a whole bunch of thoughts. Tomorrow's ritual, the arrival of Orochimaru today, the return of the former level, but the most persistent thought was, why the hell is no one here making ramen? Healthy food is good, but I'm used to ramen. Only Mito and Mika exchanged rare phrases about the preparation of documents for opening a shop. The academy, as always, met with laughter and screams of children. There were already fewer eyes, but the interest in one Uzumaki became even greater, which was facilitated by his yesterday's trick with the Rasengan. Naruto ignorantly proceeded to his seat. Kushina followed suit, and ignoring the others sat next to Naruto. Naruto frankly scored on the teacher, and went deep into reading the scroll that belonged to Tobirama. He received it from Mito, although he read this scroll in a past life. Then, before leaving the post of Hokage, Tsunade handed over the scrolls of the 4th and 2nd Naruto. The scroll of the fourth Naruto was supposed to be inherited, but the second. Then Tsunade said that Tobirama himself asked, being resurrected, to pass this scroll to Naruto. Kushina's curiosity got the better of her, as she sat closer to Naruto, and looked into the scroll as well. Horishin no Jutsu. The girl read. Naruto turned to her, put his finger to his lips and shushed her. Kushina raised an eyebrow in confusion. Do not be noisy. No one needs to know about this technique. Kushina raised an eyebrow again. Uncomprehendingly, Naruto only sighed in response. You see, it's a secret. Naruto started to whisper. Nito-sama gave me this scroll, and told me not to tell anyone about it. But I think you can. The girl smiled in response. She was pleased that they were sharing secrets with her. Tell me, what kind of technique is this? After. Not here. The guy went deep into reading, and made some notes on a separate sheet. This time, the lessons went by quickly and unnoticed, Naruto taking apart the technique, trying to change it. After all, Minato will soon begin to study this technique. Although it was possible to take the mark of Tobirama as the basis of his mark. The Jutsushiki technique formula on Minato's special kune is, which is derived from the kanji for nin, endurance, love, and ken, sword. Tobirama's Jutsushiki is more like the formula of Kuchiyose no Jutsu, summoning technique, or Fuinjutsu, which was close